Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pitch Podcast. I'm John Fox, alongside here with co-host Mitch Sabbatelli.
What's going on, John? Long time no see.
I know, right? 2 days.
Yeah, but for the podcast people, it's been a while.
Yeah. So what we're going to be trying to do here at the Pitch Podcast, we're going to try to get 2 podcasts out every 2 weeks or so. There'll obviously probably be longer periods of time without hearing our lovely voices, but we're going to try to do every 2 weeks. We're going to predominantly be talking about the 4 main sports that we like to cover: baseball, football, hockey, and of course basketball. But we're predominantly going to be Boston based. So we'll talk about, national news as well, but we're going to stick to the Beantown on this one. So we're going to start off with the NFL. We're going to start off with our boys, the New England Patriots. We're going to highlight some of the Patriots' top moves this offseason. We get Jonnu Smith. We get 2 huge tight ends being signed. Jonnu Smith of the Tennessee Titans and Hunter Henry, okay? You have Nelson Aguilar coming in and Kendrick Bourne, as well as Matthew Judon defensively. Now, thoughts on what's your favorite move?
If you asked me this like 2 months ago, I've been using this new Rodecaster Pro with all this laugh track with whenever you talk about the Patriots, but the fact that after, like a month ago, I haven't seen Bill Belichick with this kind of spending spree, honestly, in my lifetime. I mean, you can go back, there's that time where they got Brandon Cooks and, Lawrence Guy and Stephon Gilmore, and then there was that time where they got lucky with Randy Moss and Wes Welker and that whole group with the 07 almost undefeated Patriots. And I think right now, it's a response to Tom Brady. I think they failed with the fact that their whole motto is always 1 year before the year that he should have left. And obviously they thought that Tom Brady was over, or maybe he just thought they were going to do the Max Kellerman cliff, and he proved them all wrong. He got his guys, Antonio Brown, all those big guys, and he made the big championship. And now Bill needs to come back and show why he is the GOAT as well, because it was a two-way street, but everyone knows he is the GOAT as a coach. The fact that nobody ever mentions him a GOAT GM. I think in the last 10 years, I think he's been a little bit overrated as a GM. But now when you're talking about, like you said, Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith, I think this goes back to that Rob Gronkowski, Aaron Hernandez type middle of the field, kind of inside the numbers, and maybe whether it's Cam Newton or somebody else, really funnel that whole field inside the numbers along with James White coming back. I think it's going to be a really good offense. I think the offensive line's huge this year.
What's your favorite move? You didn't answer the question.
Yeah, I got a little off track. I think my favorite move, honestly, it has to be the tight ends, just because I think that's the most dynamic, and I think that's what's going to, be the entire offense, but also bringing the offensive line completely back. I think that offensive line, go down the line on Wenu and Wynn and Andrews coming back. They're just completely loaded. Shaq Mason. So I think now that Cam Newton or whoever the quarterback is going to be has a little bit more time in the pocket and get it out to those big tight ends and Aguilar, who I'm not a huge fan of, but it's definitely vastly improved from last season.
How many years has Aguilar been in the league?
I would say around 5, but I think his most notable thing is this big drop, and then that guy.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, what's his best year was last year.
Yeah.
Obviously. I mean, he's on a steady incline. Like he's, it moves on. It poises our next question, like thoughts on our QB. It's really like whoever the QB is going to be is going to. I could see Aguilar having like a 500-yard season.
Aguilar, and that's a good question. I think Aguilar could either be a complete bust or actually break out and kind of like repeat on what he did last season. I think Derek Carr used him the right way. I think John Gruden and the Raiders finally kind of utilized him more of the outside threat that he is. I also think Derek Carr had a pretty decent season last year, and nobody was really expecting anything. When he first came out of college, he was a first-round pick, and everyone put too much pressure on him. I think with Carson Wentz, and they never had those options around him. He was always kind of hurt, and he made that big drop. So I do give Nelson Aguilar the benefit of the doubt where, maybe hopefully he'll build off of that. And I think that drop really hurt him. He was with a great coaching staff last year. And I think Bill, the reason why they got him on day one, if they thought that he wasn't going to be that good, I think they could have waited till day two. But I love the fact that they struck quick, got Kendrick Bourne, got him. But obviously, those are going to be the secondary options to the big 2 tight ends and also Jacoby Myers. So a lot of people forget.
The tight ends are definitely the highlight. I mean, you have 2 premier tight ends who've been in the league. They're almost like veteran status at the
but they're they're like prime veterans.
Yeah,
and it's also
prime veteran, but.
And it's also the thing is with them is I think they're both excited to be here. And the reason why on day 1 free agency, when you see a player just sign immediately, it either means that they really wanted to be there or they got the money. They definitely got the money, but they seem like they want to be here. And I think that's going to poise well to Cam Newton or, again, whoever the quarterback's going to be.
Yeah, well, and that's what we're going to talk about next. So, thoughts on the QB situation? Do the Patriots trust Cam Newton? I'm going to just answer this one and say no. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Cam Newton isn't their plan for this year. I'm going to say they signed him for backup reasons. They maybe to start off the season to see what they have, but he is not going to be the starter, I'd say 6 games in.
Yeah, and the way I look at it is a lot of people see that it's a 1-year deal with $14 million, but that's mostly incentive based. If you really break down the contract, it's around $5 million, and it's going to be around like a backup salary. And so I think what I'm hoping it's going to be kind of like what the Chargers did last year. They brought in Tyrod Taylor from 1 year and then drafted Justin Herbert. And, whatever happened with Tyrod Taylor, he got hurt. And then a couple of weeks come in and they have Justin Herbert. I really want Justin Fields. I think he is the guy. Similar to Deshaun Watson, hopefully without the allegations. But I think with Justin Fields, he has everything. He's been playing in the big-time market. He plays against good teams. He has success. He hasn't been that injured. Mac Jones, all those other guys. Mac Jones has the success, and then guys like Trey Lance and Trevor Lawrence as well. But I think where the Pats are right now at 15, I think this whole offseason has been geared up to them making that trade up to try to get into that top 10, maybe an 11th spot in taking Justin Fields. I know that's not going to happen.
They currently have pick number 15.
They have 15. And I know
in your heart of hearts, how do you think this is going to play out? In my heart of hearts, I feel like it's going to be some dumbass move.
Yeah, honestly, they're going to probably trade down or take a kicker or whatever.
Yeah,
a defensive lineman or something. But it just works so perfectly. There's 5 quarterbacks this year, and you have a chance to get one of them. And if you look down up the quarterbacks before that, there's only around 4 teams that need a quarterback. So you're going to have that option. I just think Bill Belichick's going to go defense, either a Micah Parsons or something like that.
Well, we could have had Matt Stafford, but he didn't want to play.
He didn't want to play for Matt Patricia.
Can you hit the laugh track button, please? Thank you.
I think with Matthew Stafford, I think that's a cop-out saying he doesn't want to play her, but I think it's more of Matt Patricia than Bill Belichick.
What a loser, Matt Stafford. What a natural-born loser.
That's why that trade was great for them. It's just 2 losers together.
That was the most pathetic trade that I've ever seen. It's literally 2 flaccid quarterbacks being traded for each other. You have Jared Goff and Matt Stafford being traded for one another. I mean, for either of those fan bases, you were like, oh shit, incoming news, breaking news. Oh wait, we got the same person.
But I think with both of the breaking news, the fan bases were like, oh good. Like they both wanted to shake up. And I think when you look at what the Rams have done, like the last 2 years, the last 3 years when they signed Gurley and Jared Goff, that might have been one of the worst off seasons ever. When they gave them all that money. So I applaud the Rams for getting rid of Jared Goff. I do think Matthew Stafford's a little bit better, but going back to the Patriots, I want Justin Fields. Hopefully back when we do this show next, Justin Fields will be in a Patriots uniform. And the latest mock draft has us trading up to 10. I want to see that. But if not, I just don't want them to trade down. I want them to take the best available player. I don't really care. But at this point, I just can't have Cam Newton as my quarterback next year.
I just don't want to be John Travolta in Pulp Fiction at Uma Thurman's house. Just when they pick somebody, just completely off the grid. You're just like looking around, crickets. You're like, what?
I love the Pulp Fiction. Hopefully that Cam Newton. I know he had this is the first time he actually has a full off season. I don't care about the off season. He cannot throw the ball. He can't. The only person he could throw the ball to last year was Julian Edelman, and now he is retired. We're going to talk about that in a second. Jacoby Myers, I think hopefully he can continue in this good trajectory, but I really think Cam Newton would be a great backup. He also needs to stop smoking cigars on TV and telling everybody that he's going to be in great shape, and then smoking cigars and getting drunk and not doing whatever he needs to do. Yeah,
I agree. Well, we'll skip down to Edelman since you just mentioned Edelman. We'll come back up to that question we have here. But thoughts on Edelman's career? Julian Edelman retiring yesterday from the NFL after the Patriots cut him because he failed a physical due to last year's injury. Thoughts on Julian Edelman's career?
So I have the benefit of my first game as a fan that I ever watched really actually was the Tuck Rule game. And other than Brady, I think Julian Edelman is the second most pivotal Patriot of that 20-year gap. And that's a big thing. I mean, that's putting Ty Law, that's putting Teddy Bruschi, go down the line, Matt Light, all those guys. But I think when you think of Julian Edelman, you just think that Atlanta Falcons, did he catch it? Did he not catch it? Him bringing it back every single time you needed a big first down. He always seemed to get it for you. He did huge things in the Rams Super Bowl. He took
brutal hits. Yeah, I don't know how this man is still alive.
He probably has 8 concussions, and there's going to be they should donate his brain to science whenever they have the chance. But with the whole thing, with everything going on, he knew that hit was going to hit him, and he still would catch the ball, knew exactly where that first down line was. And I don't think Brady has had more trust in one receiver that he's ever had than Edelman. And, Wes Welker was great, but everyone remembers that big drop against the second Giants Super Bowl. I can't remember one time where really Edelman failed us. He literally always stepped up, and whenever it was third and 14, he would come back and get it.
Yeah, when he did fail, he would make up for a big
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's
and I just remember there's even in Seattle, just every single time. And everyone knew, remember when Wes Welker was gone, they signed Danny Amendola. They weren't expecting Julian Edelman, a former quarterback, to be that guy. And he was that guy. Up until last year, I don't remember a major injury for him. He's just great. He's exactly what Boston wants. And I think he's going to be a Boston legend forever. And I think he's the second most influential Patriot in the last decade.
Who's the first?
I'm going to go with Lawyer Malloy. I think he's number 1 right now.
Lawrence Maroney.
Yeah. But yeah, that's that. I mean, to put him number 2 with all those great guys.
Top 3 Patriots of all time. You don't even have to say the first one. So you have Edelman number 2. Who's 3?
I would say I loved watching Randy Moss, but the fact that he never won anything here. I gotta go Gronkowski. I think he's 3. But that's just offense. I mean,
least favorite Patriot, the top 3 least favorite Patriots players of all time.
Dante Stallworth, he was pretty bad. Lawrence Maroney was terrible. Yes, I hated him.
He was awful.
I don't really like any of the Patriots running backs, honestly. Like Garrett Blunt.
Yeah,
he was he was part of a lot of championships, but I don't really like him. Whatever the reasoning for Malcolm Butler's benching was, that guy's right up there in my list. I know you're not a big fan of that guy.
Yeah. It's not that I'm not a fan of Malcolm Butler. I'm not a fan of why you have to disclose a reason for why you bench somebody in a pivot. And it's the Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl. If you played Malcolm Butler, we would have won that game. There's no way we allow 41 points or 40 whatever it was to the Eagles. Okay, I mean, there's just I wish there was just a reason. We'll never get the reason, and I know a lot of people chalk it up to cocky New England fandom, you can't just be satisfied with 6.
Or there's that rumor,
the Super Bowl.
No, and you are right. Yeah, we probably shouldn't have won against Seattle, but we did. We probably shouldn't have won.
We definitely shouldn't have won against Seattle. They should have just ran it with Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah,
on the 2-yard
exactly.
line,
but
on second down,
we definitely would have won against the Eagles if we played. We don't know. I heard rumors about something about Steve Belichick or something, but I guess we'll never. It's not going to be like Bill Belichick. We're going to talk about this is why I bet but
yeah, we'll never know.
When you think big Patriot moments, you think of the Malcolm Butler catch, and you think of the Julian Edelman catch.
Yeah.
Who's my word? Look, Ellis Hobbs. He was terrible. I mean, he let Plaxico Burress just go off.
Oh, yeah.
I would say Ellis Hobbs is right up there. So Ellis Hobbs, Lawrence Maroney, and like any running back that we've had, not named Kevin Falk. But yeah, my top three, I love Ty Law, but I'm going to go with Gronk, Edelman, and obviously Brady.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, let's move on. One final question before we move on to MLB. Are the Bills still the favorite with all these signings? Okay.
Yeah.
We don't know the quarterback situation. The draft is in a week. Week and a half.
I would say it is.
So
yeah. Unless the Patriots come up there and get like Deshaun Watson, which it seems like by the second there's another accuser. So I'm going to throw that out the window. I think the Bills have to be the favorite. I think Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs was just so good. I love Sean McDermott. I think he's a very underrated coach. I think Cole Beasley played well for them. Their defense is great, and you've got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They were the favorite going into last year, and until they improve the quarterback situation, I have to put the Bills there. And I'm not even sure that they're number two. I love what the Dolphins did, getting Will Fuller, pairing him with Tua.
Yeah.
So right now I have them right maybe 2A, 2B with the Dolphins. But yeah, I would put Buffalo number one for sure.
And if the Dolphins get Pitts as a tight end,
yes,
that'd be crazy.
He's supposed to be
that'd be a fueled
this
offense.
Guy,
right
Kyle
there.
Pitts. Yeah, it's good. He's supposed to be like the best tight end of all time coming out. Like instantly Gronkowski level. Like not even, I feel like every time you draft a tight end, it takes a while for them to progress. He's going to be really good. And whether they get him or the guy who won the Heisman, Devontae Smith, like they're going to be really good next year.
The Jets will still suck.
Yes, and they did well. To get anything for Sam Bradford is great.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Sam Darnold. But I think,
Sam Bradford, I knew what you meant when you said Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
I was like, they're the exact same
it's
player.
The same thing.
One has
I feel like
one has two different colored eyes.
Yeah, and one just gets sick by mono. But the other one, I will say that like I feel like whoever the Jets take at number two is going to be a bust.
Yes.
Like it's not going to I feel bad for Zach Wilson or Justin Fields. Whoever it's going to be, they're just going to suck. Like they're going to be very, very bad, and it's nothing to do with their fault. It's just the Jets' culture. Yeah. But yeah, they're a distant fourth, and I'm going to go with Buffalo. I'm going to say Dolphins too. Pats right now. If it was Cam Newton, if they get Justin Fields, I put them number two.
Nice. Moving on to MLB, the Boston Red Sox surprisingly after dropping the first series of the year to the lowly Baltimore Orioles, 0-3. They get swept, okay? They go on a 6-game win streak from that point.
Yeah,
you're using all the wrong cues.
Well, it's fun. I see all these things. And well, the problem is before this, I was ready to use all the sad music and all this stuff, but now they're randomly doing well, so I don't know.
You're like a kid in a candy shop.
I know, this is crazy.
You don't know what to do. You don't know what to pick, what to choose from.
Let's try the harp. Let's try the harp.
Yes.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. So the Boston Red Sox, after getting swept by the first series by the lowly Baltimore Orioles, they go on a 6-game win streak, and now they are 6-3, barring whatever what's.
I think it was like 2-2. I don't really care.
Yeah. So they're facing the Minnesota Twins. They were rained out yesterday. So thoughts on them, Mitchell? Are they pretenders or are they contenders?
I think they're somewhere in the middle. I think the thing is with the Red Sox is I just wanted to turn on my TV and watch something that's pretty decent, and I think the first 3 games we were ready for that. We were ready for them to come out of the gutter. I almost wish that they were just dominant those first 3 or just have been really bad ever since so that we can talk about them either being terrible or really good. I hate this middle ground. And let's realize one thing. The Rays, they lost Blake Snell. Their offense is a little overrated. I know they got to the World Series last year. And they swept Baltimore a second time after getting swept. Yeah. It's not exactly like they beat the Yankees and the Dodgers here. They're beating teams that are not that great anymore. I do think that they're going to be better offensively than people gave him credit for. I think JD Martinez, now that he has iPad thing is back, he's on a tear right now.
Oh, of course, yeah.
3 homers. 5 home runs already. Yeah. He's the AL Player of the Week. I like that Rafael Devers is back, and I think he's actually hitting the ball. I still never think he's going to be a good defensive player. I think that's going to be thrown out the window. But if they get any production of Bobby Dahlbeck or Hunter Renfroe, I think they're going to be a solid team. I think they really need Chris Sale and Erod back, though.
What do you think their final? How many wins do you think they get this year?
I think a good over-under for them is like 85.
85 wins.
Maybe 84.
Third place.
I don't know. I guess I would say that they're going to be a little bit under there because I think people are overrating this stretch a little bit. But if I had to guess, I think they're going to be right around 84, 83 wins, which I think that will take them close to the second wild card. But I think ultimately they won't make the playoffs.
Yeah. Do you think there will be? How many games do you think will be in this season? Do you think we'll see?
I think the greatest thing about the coronavirus is the fact that when they brought Alex Cora back, there's not going to be that many fans in the stands because he would have had a hell of a time with everybody banging on trash cans. And I think he's the star of the team. I hated Ron Renneke last year. I don't even remember what your question was, but I just wanted to mention about Alex Cora coming back. I think he is the star of the team right now, and I think the offense of the Red Sox right now, and I do love that middle of the order, and I love Verdugo at the top. Now, what was your question one more time?
I forgot my question after you said the best thing about coronavirus is...
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's always a tough intro to say, but yeah, I mean, I would say that they are contenders as of right now, but I could easily, next time we have this show, they could easily win lose 8 games in a row, and I wouldn't be shocked.
Of course.
But
their pitching is still like horrid.
Garrett Richards should not be in the league.
Yes, it's terrible. It's a glimmer of hope. Obviously, I've been watching now. I'm not just like a bandwagon fan. I'm a diehard Red Sox fan, but I'm not going to watch them when they suck and when they don't put any effort. Like, I'll watch them here and there, but I'm not going to avidly watch them. When I know we have like washed up players like Garrett Richards in our
Martin Perez
in our starting. Our bullpen is like horrid. They can literally give up 5 runs.
Our best player
2
is
minutes.
like the Yankees cast off and Ottavino. I completely agree.
The best things that happened this season were Heath Hembry was shipped off.
Yeah, that was great. Brandon Workman, get out of here. I'm so glad that Jackie Bradley's gone. I love his defense, but anytime somebody has to say, "Oh, his defense is great," he makes one good catch a game.
His biggest claim to fame was that grand slam in the ALCS against the Astros. Obviously saving games, saving games.
I could get more hits than him at the bat.
Yeah, that's not an MLB player. That's not a Major League Baseball player.
He's a defensive specialist. He should come in the 9th inning, 8th inning, and play defense. That's it.
I agree. That's not somebody you want to have in your lineup to bat like 212. He was supposed to be good like 5 years ago, and he never made the jump offensively.
Exactly. And also, I'm not really pissed that
it's like I don't want half of a player. Andrew Benintendi,
it was the biggest cocky player there. I'm glad he's gone. I was
kind of a little upset about Benintendi being just traded off for literally nothing because he's like he
was a top prospect.
He had one bad year.
2.
Not really.
Ever since 2018, he thought he was a home run. I don't even count that as a real thing.
I don't. Screw the Dodgers. Honestly, I
give them a win. They've been bitching for the last 3 years about all the Astros and the Red Sox and the Yankees screwing them.
Whatever.
I hate to say it. I would rather the Yankees win this year than the Dodgers. I really hate the Dodgers.
I don't. I dislike the Dodgers. I do. The Dodgers are like a second Yankees.
I love Dave Roberts. He saved us, but I just hate them. Ever since Cody Bellinger said I don't know what Seinfeld is, I just hate him. Yeah. And I hate the Dodgers in general.
No, he didn't even know what Full House was.
Either way.
Yeah, what a loser.
Yeah, I mean, either way. I mean, just turn on Netflix and you'll know. But the thing is with the Red Sox, going back to them, is, I feel like they're going to give us a false sense and then they're going to lose a bunch of games.
Yeah.
I do like the Core's back just because I hated Renneke's guts. I almost like the fact that everyone's just ready for like a big question for Alex Cora about all of his allegations, and I love that because Ron Renneke it was like talking to a post, and I couldn't hear Ron Renneke anymore. I just hated him. So
thoughts, final on this topic, MLB Red Sox. Thoughts on Kyle Bloom so far?
I actually think
with his moves, with his acquisition,
I think he's a little robotic. I think he's kind of like a little too analytical, trying to, like you said, getting rid of Benintendi for nothing just because he. But I do think that he gets a little bit bad rep. I mean, he came in. Let me put it this way.
I understand what he's doing right now, but hopefully that's just for right now. Like you do know you're now the GM for the Boston Red Sox, right? You need to start doing something in a few years.
Well, I gave him like a 2 week. Imagine coming into a team where they have the biggest scandal since the Black Sox coming in. They just fired their coach, just fired their GM, and they bring him in. And not only that, they say, hey, you got to trade your best player along with David Price to get under the luxury tax. And then also they had to find a new manager. He had a lot going on, a lot of stress early that he wasn't ready for. And he took the job not knowing about the trash cans or the Alex Cora situation. And so I do give him credit that he got rid of David Price and kind of reset the threshold. Now we are in that 2-year bump where I hope he makes a trade at the deadline. I hope he sells if the team is bad. I hope that he buys if the team is good. And I'm going to give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt. I think it's going to be good.
Okay. Moving on. We only got about 5 minutes left on this beautiful podcast, but we're going to switch into basketball, NBA. Boston Celtics, they get Fournier at the deadline. Thoughts on this, Mitch?
I love Fournier. I think he's a great shooter. I think the good thing about Fournier is the Celtics are so adamant about getting it to one of the Jays and Tatum or Brown that they always have to funnel it, and then Marcus Smart shoots an open three. I would much rather have Evan Fournier taking that three. Of course, very Celtics fashion. He is now in COVID protocol, and he hasn't been in the game for a while. But, anytime that he's shooting the three instead of Marcus Smart or Kemba Walker, who's been terrible this year, I love that move, and I think I give credit for Danny because at least he did something, and that's what I want.
Basketball doesn't really matter for me right now because the Lakers going to win.
Yeah,
So,
or the Nets now because they just keep on getting whoever. And Kyrie Irving, he just changes.
They just got blown out by the Lakers.
He has more personal issues. And imagine just being at work and just saying I want to take a personal day. That's what Kyrie Irving. I hate Kyrie Irving. As long as the Nets don't win.
Kyrie Irving is a bitch, and I'm very upset right now because my girlfriend doesn't want me to get rid of his jersey for some reason.
Oh, burn it!
I'm just like she'll just be like Kyrie Irving jersey.
I would take the ring.
We just moved, so we were trying to get rid of things, and we just moved, so we're trying to get rid of things. And I'm like holding up. I'm like, oh, just she's holding it up. She's like Kyrie Irving jersey. I'm like, burn it. And she's like, no, I'll sell this. So I'm like, nobody will buy that.
That's
shit.
good for a bonfire later in the. I just hate his guts. Every single second is different. So I just don't want the Nets to win. But going back to where the Celtics are, they win 8 games and then they lose 8. So I don't know what's going on. They're a 500 team. I want them to do better. I do think Evan Fournier is going to help them out.
Yeah, I mean, they're 28 and 26.
Yeah,
whatever.
They're
weren't they supposed to be great?
Well, yeah, they're supposed to be really good. I think the thing is, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum had so much success earlier in their career that almost people thought that they were Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, and they were only 22. I mean, literally, Jason Tatum was getting kicked out of bars a year ago, and now he's back. And people think he's a lot older than he is because he has a kid, and he's been in the league for this is his 4th year. But he's only 22 years old. Like, at 22, I was trying to figure out ways of how to get out of college or, try to drop more classes. Like, he's trying to put his whole entire city on his back. And
at 22, I think I was working at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah. So. But yeah, maybe we're doing better at Dunkin' Donuts than he's doing at the Celtics right now. I do think that he needs to take on that leadership role, not because of his age, but because of all of the success the last 4 years, and he needs to step up a little bit.
What's the X factor to them going anywhere in the postseason?
I would say the maturity of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart knowing his role, getting back to that grit. And also, those 3 are huge, but I want Kemba Walker to hit open shots. I don't care if he's not the same Kemba Walker, but if you give me one X factor, it's Kemba Walker. Can he be the 3rd guy?
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to our final. We have a few minutes left. Moving on to our final topic, NHL Boston Bruins. The Bruins just trade Bjork and a second pick for a former MVP winner, Taylor Hall. Thoughts?
I love this move. I was almost ready to kick Don Sweeney out because every single year he makes really shitty trades. Andre Kasha, I don't even think he exists. He hasn't played in the league for like two years here. Charlie Coyle, they sent him a big deal. I love this move because Taylor Hall, just 2 years ago, he was the MVP. Everyone knows the Taylor Hall versus Tyler Seguin thing of like 10 years ago. They ultimately got Seguin and traded him. Hall's always thought to have been a Bruin. He wanted to be a Bruin this offseason. Ultimately, Buffalo gave him more money, and he is already talking extension. I think he's going to resurrect his career back here. He's only 29. A lot of people think he's a little older than he is. I mean, if you're playing on the worst team ever and you're getting triple team, your stats aren't going to be like, you know, what they would be here. And now we can be a second liner. We haven't had a good second line ever. And I just want Rask to not be a little bitch, whiny bitch when the playoffs come. I want him to play. Halak needs to be a good beat.
Why is Tuukka Rask out right now?
He's hurt.
Like, what is the injury?
I don't know. Growing. I have no.
I wanted to say something else.
Yeah,
but
I have no idea.
But keep it together a little here.
You know, he needs to really show up for the playoffs, and he is one of the better goalies in the game. So if he's there,
you just see out watching Mighty Ducks new series on Disney Plus.
Out personal reasons, Kyrie Irving, because do you hear about that with Kyrie Irving? He changed his religion, which is great, but now because it's Ramadan, he's not going to be playing for the Nets today. And he just changed his religion like 2 weeks ago. That'd be cool too. Just start switching. But going back to the Bruins had 3 issues. They needed depth at center, they needed a second line scorer, and they needed defense. And Don Sweeney got all 3 with him, Lazard, and Mike Riley. So I love the Bruins this year. The problem is I feel like every year they were 1 piece behind. This year I feel like they're 2 pieces behind. So hopefully that this is going to help them. But the top line needs to be really good and the goaltending needs to be there.
Agreed. And we'll see how things play out, you know, whether it be Rask or Swayman. Personally, I'd take Swayman.
Yeah, I agree. Swayman, anything, or just anyone who's not going to quit on the team.
Anybody but Rask. Yeah, Rask is a loser. He showed his colors.
Yeah,
so
yeah, I agree.
That wraps up this first pitch podcast. You can't be playing it while I'm speaking.
Yeah,
that wraps up this first pitch podcast. Be sure to follow us on any social media platform. We pretty much have everything except for MySpace.
Damn,
Tom died. I think
he's probably
he's no longer a thing.
Yeah, hopefully he's hopefully he's onto bigger and better things like Twitter or something. I don't know what he's doing now, but we'll see.
All right, well, have a good one, everyone.